Good to see such a good turnout, and just wanted to come up and give you a briefing on a couple of things that we've got going on in the Secretary of State's office. First, I want to start out with kind of a quick session recap. Thank the governor and the legislators for helping us on a couple of different fronts. We, as Republicans, we run on trying to streamline government, making it more efficient, making it smaller, and we did that this year with House Bill 332. As many of you know, our licensing division, we have over 40 boards that we do the administrative work for licensing. Nursing is a big part of that. And this year in the session, with the help of the governor and the legislators, we have combined two of those boards. So we made two boards into one. And you probably won't ever read anything about that or hear much about it, but it really is good government. It's going to allow us to have less board meetings, which means that we'll have less staff spending time getting ready for board meetings, doing the administrative work of an additional 12 to 14 board meetings a year, sitting in those board meetings sometimes for up to 2 days, and that will allow us to take those people resources and move them into other areas of the licensing division to process licenses faster, do complaint and compliance. And we think this is a small step to things that we can do in the future potentially with other boards. Also in Senate Bill 160, which ended up being the immigration bill this year, we've been advocating for over a year to fix one of the unintended consequences of the bill that required us to not only check secure and verifiable documents each time we issue a license, but it made us have to do just that. We had to check it every single time we issued the license. So it took an online streamlined process that used to take less than 48 hours for us to do, and it's now taken us 10 days to 2 weeks. Well, when people wait that long, they think something's wrong, so they call our call center, which creates call center wait times in excess of 20 and 30 minutes on most days. So we got a fix to that where we only have to do the check one time. Once we've done it, we can then go back to the online electronic renewal process, and it will really help us out. It's going to take us another year or so before we get there, but we're very appreciative of that. I also worked with the governor and appreciate the legislators with us transferring the archives program from the Secretary of State's office to the University System of Georgia. Because of budget cuts, we were in a really bad spot in archives. Now we're going to be able to move it to the university system where really they're going to save a lot of money through efficiencies and be able to give resources to the archives that it just hasn't had in the last 4 to 5 years, and I was certainly supportive of that. When you look at our agency, we are truly doing more with less. Since 2008, our budget's been reduced about 30%. We've been able to reduce our head count, or the number of employees we have in the Secretary of State's office, by about 40%, and we're doing more work. Now, we do have areas where we need some help, like in our call centers and trying to get people licensed and trying to get corporations set up in a timely manner. But because of using e-government solutions and efficiencies in government, we've been able to maintain our workload, even increase that, in really a severe budget situation, and we're committed to continuing to do that. But I would tell you, there are parts of our agency where it is hard to get through. If you have a question or if you're having a problem with our new corporation system that we're transferring to, don't try to call our soft call center. Just email me if you have a problem. We'll be glad to get back to you and try to help you with that. Or you can hit me on Facebook. We monitor that, pretty much all day long, even at night after folks have gone home, to try to help people in a timely manner. My email address is just brian@votebriankemp.com. The state email address, all of them are at sos.ga.gov. If you just put bkemp in front of that, if you're having any issues, I'll get that, and we'll be glad to help you. I wanted to wrap up really with elections. We've had a huge year in elections. We had probably one of the smoothest statewide election cycles in 2012 that we've ever had in Georgia. And that's not just coming from me, but from our partners at the county level and other folks that I've been talking to since the election. the presidential preference primary. Really, a lot of the races this year were determined in the summer primaries and runoffs, and all that went very smoothly. And certainly the presidential race went smoothly other than the outcome. But we did good here in Georgia with that. We just didn't get it done around the rest of the country. But we did have one area of concern that, as I have described it, as a debacle in Fulton County. And it was really because they just didn't understand and didn't know what they were doing. And they wouldn't listen to people when we told them that this was going to happen. But I want you to know that we are continuing our massive investigation into the Fulton County Elections Office and how they handled that on Election Day. There's no doubt in my mind that people were disenfranchised. That meaning that people that were legally qualified and registered to vote were turned away and didn't get to cast their vote on Election Day. And that's simply unacceptable. And we're going to continue to hold. We're going to continue to hold their feet to the fire as we move through the investigation and move through this process and get to the final state election board hearing. And y'all have my commitment on that. A couple other things on the national level. We're continuing to fight and try to help other states implement good policies to keep our elections secure and accessible, like photo ID. I testified the other day in North Carolina where they're going to again this year pass a bill as they did a couple of years ago that was vetoed by the Democratic governor. However, this year they're going to sign that bill because we've got a Republican governor up there. So we're working on things like that. We're also continuing to fight the intervention of the federal government into our elections here in Georgia. We've seen a lot of federal intervention in a lot of different issues over the last few years, and now elections is something that they're targeting. As you've seen from the president, he wants to have things like same-day voter registration. He wants to have a national voter registration database where any list that's out there for anything, anywhere, those people would just automatically be registered to vote, and there'd be this big national list. Well, I don't agree with that. I think that's not a way to have secure elections. I think we need to make sure that the states continue to do that, because the states can decide if we want to have a citizenship verification process, if we want to run these checks and have time before the election to make sure that these checks are met and properly done and people are vetted before we get them on the voter rolls and allow them to vote. And there's a lot of really conservative Republican secretaries of state that I've been working with around the country to fight this and to let our congressmen and our senators know that this is something that's being pushed out of Washington, D.C., and we'll continue to do that on the national level. I hope y'all have a great convention today. I know you have a lot to do, and if I can ever be of service, I hope you'll call on me. Thank you. God bless you.